Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is G. Cole, and welcome to Homegrown, where we share with you some good music while talking to some great people. Hello world, hope you're feeling as good as I am. I want to big up all my homegrown listeners out there and welcome all the new listeners. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so we can keep you updated when new material is available. We will be posting new episodes bi-weekly. Want to thank everyone who has been listening and sharing. Please leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Please check out the website homegrownwithgcole.com to listen and for all things homegrown. The podcast is available on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Radio.com, YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast. We are there. We're also very interactive. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at MyGCole. The video of this interview is also available on YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is episode 139. Jamaica just celebrated its 61st year of independence, and I've been having conversations with folks regarding life pre and post. Of course, I can't have these conversations with everyone, so chopping it up with people who've lived a life in Jamaica pre and post independent. And my special guest today, Mr. Tony Carr, veteran broadcaster, and of course, former athlete representing Jamaica on the world stage. We gonna get in and chop it up with Mr. Tony Carr Unfiltered today. Let's talk independence, pre, post, and whatever. This episode is brought to you courtesy of the latest release from yours truly, G. Cole. That is called This Music. The album is a re-release of my first album that was originally released in 2007. This is This Music 2.0. Couple of changes in, couple of new tracks, and a couple of dope stuff that you're gonna like, all right? Check it out on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to music, it is there. Sir Tony, I'm free up on your mic and them things so the people can't hear you, sir. How are you though?
I am good. I am alive after the heat yesterday and today in Florida.
It's wicked, not true?
But I feel, we have heat right now going on in the DMV. And just in case you don't know what is the DMV is the district which is Washington, D.C., DM, Maryland, where I live, and V, Virginia, which is the metropolitan area of Washington, D.C. So years ago, they coined the word DMV. Okay. When I mentioned DMV, you know what I thought about.
I thought you were talking about the driver's license place, which is always hot.
No. No.
Large joke by DC folks.
So I said we have heat up there. When I left, it was 80-something. Okay, I came down here, it was 93.
Yup.
But I almost died in the heat yesterday.
It's a rotisserie type of oven.
Oh, my God.
So when did it hit you when the airport doors open? Because when you come off,
and
you step out.
As soon as you step off of the plane, and going up the corridor, you start feeling
something
heat.
Right. It's true because when I'm in your neck of the woods,
you don't feel it.
I don't feel it. But when I get off the plane, and a lot of times when I'm in your neck of the woods, it's cold.
Yeah.
So right when I step off the plane, you're right. The little walkway.
Cold for you, but for us,
you're Eskimo. Yeah. It's normal for you. It's normal for you. It's freezing for me when we come on.
I know that
50 and 40 and 30 something.
Yeah.
I can't do anything.
And to me, that's comfortable. As long as the wind is not blowing.
Right.
Because that's when it gets really cold. When the wind is blowing. The wind chill factor.
Ooh. It's funny. I was complaining to somebody about the cold before, and they said to me, "Why are you complaining? You're not outside in the cold," which kind of makes some sense because if when it's cold, hot, whatever, but when it's cold, you can layer up. When it's hot, you can't. We gotta walk around naked.
No, I love summer. I'm born in Jamaica. With t-shirt.
Yeah.
As soon as I go home, t-shirt and short pants.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
At work, of course, I have to dress.
Right.
How them want me dress.
Right.
But I like the heat. But the heat down here, so
different.
Oh my God. I feel like I could reach out and grab the heat yesterday. I literally just sat down.
Yeah.
And all I could do is drink liquid.
When I say water and more water.
I have drunk more water in Florida in 2 days I've been here than I have done a whole week back up.
Well, guess what? Get your soul right, because that means you can't go hell on your thing. You
no,
can't manage it.
We can't manage it. I can't manage that kind of heat there. Yeah, man.
Trust me.
But, it's good to come to Florida. I was here yesterday for a good friend's birthday, 70th birthday, coming up down the road, but the wife decided to surprise him, and he was surprised.
So he didn't know?
He didn't know.
Wow.
He used
Only the ladies can pull that off.
May I tell you?
Yeah.
And he was calling out friends who he spoke up to 11:30 yesterday. Didn't mention it to him.
Wow.
So
Wife put them on notice. Don't say a word, Make sure you don't say a word.
When she tell me, Mrs., you don't have to worry about me.
Yeah.
But I'll be there.
Right.
And I wouldn't jump on the plane to go just anywhere to celebrate anybody's birthday. But this is a brother that I have known since the early 70s.
Wow.
He was
Wow.
He's Keith Tuller, otherwise known as Barnaby. Big, they say soccer here, I prefer the word football. For Wolmers, when they won everything back early 72. Then he came to Howard. When Howard, they won the NC2A. And he was part of a team that I reformed, Jamaican Nationals. Some people say Jamaica Nats, but the proper name is Jamaica Nationals football team. 77. And he was a captain. That was the first thing I did. Right away, I said, "This is my captain." Right. Played midfield with his partner at Wolmer's, Warren Tullanch, who was here yesterday.
Wow.
And we went through. While I was present, we never lost a game. We lost one game from 77 to 81. I wasn't there.
Right.
Unfortunately, he made changes that I wouldn't have made.
Right.
And we lost the game. And that was to the Washington Diplomats, 4-2.
Did you remind him about this yesterday?
No, yesterday was his day.
It was his day.
Yeah, but
tomorrow.
We talk about it all the time.
We'll let it slide yesterday.
Yesterday was his day. Yes, yesterday was his day. Yeah. As him said, my wife catch me. She catch me.
Only wives can pull that off. My wife pulled
Maxine
off her birthday.
Tuller. Yeah.
Big up yourself.
Yeah.
Big up yourself. We would never be able to do it.
I don't think so.
So, Jano. And our friends, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because the wives can get them to secrecy. But let me tell you something. I respect that and I love that because friendship, camaraderie, brotherhood, for coming from so long, that is not a common practice these days. And again, you didn't drive down the street, you hopped on a flight.
Yes, sir.
Hundreds of miles across the country.
Yes, sir.
To come surprise him.
Yep.
Right? And
when he saw me, I saw his eyes lift up.
Wow. Prior to this, when was the last time you saw him?
In May, June, good friend of ours died. Young man I used to coach at Excelsior High School in track and field.
Right.
Jeffrey Simpson.
He passed away.
He passed away.
Okay. So you saw him back in May.
Yeah. May towards the end of May. Yeah.
And you already knew this was going down still from then?
Little after that, the wife
called you?
Yeah, called and sent out a little notice.
Yeah.
And she said, Bana can't know.
She laid it out right there and then.
Bana can't know.
Yeah. I love that. Big up yourself.
It was nice. We had probably about between 50 and 70 of his closest friends. She chose who to come.
Wow.
Because he's well known.
Right.
But she chose people she said that means something to him.
Right.
Which is important.
Yeah, it's more than just, abashment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I dig that.
I saw people yesterday that I have not seen since them run left way. From Maryland, DC. Them run left way coming out of the heat.
So they were in the cold with you and then they bounced. They abandoned you.
Them weak, man. Them weak people.
I would have left too.
Yeah?
We can't do it. Sir.
You know something, man? I live in what I consider a very interested area. Everything that happens in Washington, D.C. starts in Washington. In America, I should say, starts in Washington, D.C.
Right.
I see and hear things that you probably don't.
Right. More like
here.
Yep.
there we know of these things.
Right.
We know about the spies before they
Right.
become national news.
Right.
We've heard a couple of those.
You're in the spot.
Yeah.
Capital area.
And of course, if you've never been to Washington, D.C., it's a great city to visit. Museums galore. You can spend a month in Washington, D.C., and not see everything downtown Washington, D.C.
Wow.
You know,
When was I there? It's probably
yeah.
probably 2015, 2016 is the last time I was in DC.
Mhm.
I've been in Maryland overall, but I didn't make it to DC since then. And you are right. It is, I must say, for visitation, it's one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah.
Very beautiful. You always hear me talking about the cold and the climate and whatever the case may be, but it's very, very picturesque.
Yep.
The flora, the fauna, you know what I mean? Go check out the White House area. Even just the whole thing is nice. And the
I
museums-
broadcast about 2 blocks up, 2 blocks over from the 3 blocks over from the White House.
Wow.
And guess what? I drive past the White House every night going home, and I never look at it.
Never look over.
No.
Because it's just another thing in your way
It's
home.
just another. Must pay attention to the traffic. But if I get a 16th Street, I just glance to the right. You see the White House,
Yeah.
2 blocks down.
That's almost your neighbors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Go back, just you go get some sugar from them and take them with a lot. You know what I mean?
I pass the Capitol. I don't
Yeah.
notice it.
You can't go borrow some salt.
No.
No.
It's there.
It's just there.
Yeah, I've been in that area since October 1969.
Wow. 1969. You know, it's funny. I'd mentioned to you last week. We're dealing with the whole independence, Jamaican 61st independence, right? And I was saying I'd love to have a convo with somebody who spent some time in Jamaica pre-independence, right? Not so much about just, you're a child, but you spend some time.
Right.
Be pre-independence and post-independence. And why? Because I needed somebody who can paint for me a picture. What life was like, what the atmosphere was like, what the feeling was like pre-independence, that threshold that we crossed over to go into independence, and then an independent Jamaica. But before we even get there, talk to me about how you guys celebrate independence when you're in DC. I know all the festivities and whatnot we create down here, but what you guys do up so?
There's a lot of little functions now. I was once involved with the Jamaican Nationals Association of Washington, D.C. I was chairman of their Independence Ball for a number of years. And something happened and I sort of pulled away. But during the time that I ran the Independence Ball, it was huge. Huge. We had people like Governor of Maryland might turn up. General Colin Powell turned up one year. After inviting him for a number of years, I saw this stately looking man walking and I said, that looked like General Powell. It was him.
Just rolling through.
He never replied to us. I guess for security reasons, I don't know. But he turned up and of course he was added as one of the speakers. And the mayor's wife, all the dignitaries turned up when I was there. These days, the JNA has not done much in terms of having an independence day. The President Ambassador to the United States, Ambassador Marks, put out they have a church service every year. But embassy has not, in my opinion, last several years done anything.
Right.
And I don't know what is going on with the JNA. I have to talk to the president and find out why.
Would you get back involved?
No.
That intricately?
No. Something happened some years ago.
I got you.
I still support them. Whenever the president call upon me to help broadcast, stuff like that. But intimately, not involved like how I was involved in the 70s, 80s, 90s, right through 2000. No.
I got you. And when we talk about the diaspora, it's heavily concentrated in certain areas. We talk about the diaspora, we talk about South Florida, we talk about New York, we talk
in
about
Baltimore,
Atlanta.
they have the nice
Baltimore.
Independence Ball, though.
In Baltimore?
Yeah.
So do you attend that one? Because you're not too far.
No, unfortunately. I think I went once. That is Jamaica, Maryland, Association of Maryland. I think that's the name of it. They have a nice Independence Ball every year. I people tell me what's going on, so
Right.
I like to know what's going on, even if I'm not there.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
But that's how it's supposed to be. That's still our thing. You know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
our culture and whatnot. And that's another area too where a lot of our great artists, our great musicians pass through. Right? And oftentimes you're the ones hosting those events, making sure you interview those people. It's like one of the meccas for reggae music and the diaspora, connecting it to the people, is your radio show, your audience, and your section there in Washington, D.C. Talk to me a little bit about your interactions with these artists when they come through. Because, again, I don't think anybody comes through that don't stop through and say Tony Carr when I'm a pass through.
Well, I have kind of slowed down on that these days. But there was once upon a time, even the great Beres Hammond, who don't like to do interviews. I don't know if you know that, but he doesn't like to do interviews.
Yep.
I got Beres up. I got his room number. And I called his, because I was involved with the production.
Right.
So I got his at the crossroads. And I literally woke him up. And I said, Beres, can you talk with me in the ear for 5 minutes? He said, that's all, man, 5 minutes. I said, that's more than enough. We just want people to know that you're here. Beres ended up being on air for 55 minutes. You want to know how long he spoke to me? 5 minutes. He was talking. People was calling him like crazy.
Right.
And you could see from being a sleepy-eyed person, he was enjoying this.
Right.
I had to remind him. Beres, you say you're tired.
And you said 5 minutes.
Yeah. The man ended up, normally I do my interviews at 10:15. 10:55. And of that 55 minutes or so, 45, yeah, almost 45 minutes. He spoke to me only about 5 minutes. I just pressed the button and
Wow.
you're on the air with Beres.
Do you ever find any of these artists when they come through, especially for the first time, are they normally surprised how much of an impact they have in your region? Like
Some of them.
some of them are.
The last one that I can recall who was surprised was Taras Riley.
Oh wow.
When he made his first trip to Washington, D.C. Well, I was one of the first persons who played his music on air in America. And maybe in Jamaica too. Got them that would play his, well, this is what he told me.
Right.
That album came out in September of that year. And as soon as I heard She's Royal, I said, this is a monster hit.
Wow.
I called VP up and I said, how come you guys don't have, they used to send you that sheet, tell you what you play. I said, how come you, no, man, no. This we want to push on. I said, boy, listen again. The best album, the tune on that album is She's Royal.
Right.
So I was playing that thing for every week, for months.
Which one were they pushing? Which one did they want to push? Probably the system.
Yeah, two other songs.
Yeah. The system and the cover.
Yeah, and
Stay With You. Yeah.
Stay With You was one of them.
Yeah.
It was one of them. And in October of that year, my good friend Neil Matai from WEAA, who does a fine Caribbean program on WEAA in Baltimore, Morgan State University Radio, 5 to 8, he called me and said, Tony Carr, who is that? Every week you're playing this darn song. Who is that? And I was kind of surprised. I said, Neil, you get music from VP? He said, yes. I said, when you go home, check up the Taras Riley's, and you'll find She's Royal on it. They never started to play that song in New York until December. Wow. September, October, November, December, 4 months after.
Right.
Where's VP?
New York.
New York.
Yeah.
None of those people, they were playing what VP wanted them to play.
So, but let me ask you this though. Speaking of that, because I do know radio, not radio folks, but labels a lot of times think they know.
Yep.
And a lot of times hits are created. The formula is the formula. Doesn't mean the songs aren't good, but they know what they want to push.
Yep.
But then you have people like yourself and others and myself, and we're on radio and we know how it connects with the people. Do you find that the powers that be struggle to take the feedback from us and say, no, this is really what the people are engaging with, or is just probably they already invested in a certain product?
I always wonder who makes this decision at labels like VP. Before Bob died, I had a brother who used to send me Bob's album before they were released. He never told me what to play.
He just sent it to you.
He just sent it. He would say, you can't play it before this date.
Right.
And I would honor that.
Right. But he's not telling you what to play.
But he never said, we want you, this is what they want. No, he just sent me, hold it. Don't let nobody hear the music, blah, 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 until such a date. And you know what I would do? I would call him and say, okay, is it fine good to play the music? And he, yeah. But they never told me.
Right.
But VB for many years, I always wonder who chose what to play.
Right.
But I never followed that.
No,
I know music.
So you're always curious who's making these decisions as to what songs to send to radio.
Yeah.
And you being curious about that, is it just out of curiosity's sake, or is it normally because you feel like the ones that they're pushing is not necessarily the strongest, or
not necessarily the strongest.
So that's normally why you wonder.
Yeah, I mean every now and then they'll hit it and
right. Everybody scores a basket every now and then. Right.
So Tarrus Riley was making his first appearance in Washington, D.C. at the Crossroads. And I had this interview with him. And I said to him, so how popular is She's Royal in Jamaica? Now, this is September, almost a year, maybe a couple of weeks before, a year before the album was released. And he said, well, it just started to get some play in Jamaica.
A year after.
He said to me, Tarrus Riley, he told me, he said they started playing in Jamaica April, May, I don't remember which month, because them here it was very popular in the Eastern Caribbean. So I said to myself, what kind of joke business is in a Jamaican radio?
Right.
So I said, Tarrus, been playing it a year now.
Right.
Without hesitation.
Right.
Still, in my opinion, his best song he ever released.
Not only his best song, but one of the best reggae songs ever released.
Yep.
People might say.
Yep.
Right? Ladies and gentlemen, we're chopping it up with Sir Tony Carr, and it's always a dope one to have a conversation with people such as yourself. I often wonder too, the connection or disconnection between, because it's three things at play here. You got the artists, you've got the distributors, i.e. the VPs, Greensleeves, whomever they are. And whichever other labels, and then you have radio, right? Because that's how the music is getting out there. Now we have the advent of internet radio and stuff like that, and we also have the social media, yes. But at that time, we're talking about the label, the artist, and radio, right? And radio was the way that most of the music got out there. People heard the music and got familiar with the stuff.
Right.
Do you feel like that power, that strength, and I don't mean power in any negative sense, but just the leverage of radio to be able to break a song in a marketplace, right? You playing She's Royal is how it affects many people in the diaspora, and the diaspora is not just Jamaican diaspora, the Caribbean, which is probably how it trickles back down in the Caribbean. And then songs start to pick up momentum, pick up steam, and it's out there now. Does radio personalities and stuff like that still have that, still yield and wield that leverage to be able to get music out to the masses right now, or is that strength and power gone?
With the advent of internet radio, people have many choices. Some of the choices are not very good, but they have many choices.
Choices nonetheless.
My show, I have about 6 stations that carry my show. I choose them all. I don't want my show to be on just any old Lego Beast type radio, internet radio station. And believe me, there are thousands of those.
Yep.
Now, I would not get up today and make the statement that I broke this song. Because, let's face it, people getting songs before me today.
Yep.
So, but back then, I knew internet radios, I don't think was even around at that time.
Right.
You know, I started an internet thing, a radio station. A friend of mine who was a genius, African brother from Cameroon, and we put together internet station 1994. And I found it taxing to be there every day, so I just let it roll, the music roll.
It's a playlist.
Yeah, and I found it taxing. At that time, man, I did this radio show, and I cut it after a couple years.
Right.
Because it was, at that time I had one computer, and I had to leave my computer. But if I wanted to do something else, I have to take on the radio station. It was that kind of hookup.
Gotcha.
But so after a while, I cut it. But we're talking about the independence thing, and you wanted to know how I grew up before independence.
What was life like? Give me a picture. Paint a picture. Not from.
I can't paint a picture for anybody. I can paint my picture.
Yes, let's do that.
I grew up in the 50s. My parents died when I was young.
Both.
Yeah. 2 months, 11 days apart.
Oh, wow. Sorry.
Place called Shudley, Manchester. That's where I was born. And uncle took us. And I in the 50s, I was living with my sisters in Rallington town. And two of my neighbors were Don Drummond, who lived up the road. All people always dispute it, but I used to go to the man's backyard and sit down on them steps.
Right.
I'd listen to him.
Right.
And the great saxophonist from the Scatolites, who formed the Scatolites, died in Tennessee, Tom McCook.
Wow.
He lived about 1.5 miles from me in a straight line and over the Mountain View side.
Right.
I used to go and listen to
How
this
old
guy.
were you when you got to Kingston?
We got independence, I was 20, 1963.
Gotcha.
I'm a young kid on the block.
Right.
And so I was a teenager. Then we moved to Vineyard Town. And that's where a lot of my love for the music came from. Because the Scatolites were now in full-blown action. And they used to be at Bournemouth Club, which, a couple miles down the road, Seaview Gardens. On a Wednesday night, I used to go there. Maritone Winston Blake used to have his parties, Red Gallery, and then out on, there was a beach area out St. Thomas, beyond Harborview.
Okay.
I forget the name of it. No, I forget the name of it. Don't want to call it the wrong name. But he used to do a lot of Sunday parties. So plus he was with me in teenage dance party in the formative years.
Right.
When the first host of that teenage dance party was a Canadian guy. A lot of people just remember when the Jamaicans started, but it started at Gas Bucket with a Canadian guy. Who Winston Blake was there. Right. He went to KC. I went to a little school. Right. But we all grew up together. Yeah. And when I moved to Vineyard Town, there was this gentleman who had a big hit. It was a kind of rhythm and blues type slow music. He used to live across from me. Boris Gardner used to live on First Avenue. not too far from me.
A lot of music running.
There was a lot of music. B.B. Seaton.
Wow.
And them used to practice at a place called the Blue Mist, which was next door to the Globe Theatre, if you know Vineyard Town. And on a Wednesdays, it was a jam session. Wow. I later moved. So.
No, is this pre-independence?
Yeah.
This is before independence.
This is before independence.
So the music scene, right? Because again, we talk about a lot of the stuff post, but the music scene was alive and well.
Oh yeah.
Pre-independence.
Yeah.
Were artists leaving to go other places, traveling with this music to the UK, Europe, the US, pre-independence a lot?
Not so much. Every now and then you would hear about an outstanding artist who would go to England to appear in a show. I think they call it the Top of the Pops or something like that. Right? But at that area also, we developed big bands. Baron Lee and the Dragoneers, Keschin and the Souvenirs, this band. I used to be at these guys, the Mighty Vikings. A lot of them.
Wow.
Big band area. What's her name? Tammy.
Tessanchian's folks.
Yeah, her mother was with a band, the Carnations, and I think they were related to Keschin. So it was also at this time you had a lot of big bands. Then the Veer Johns. I don't know if you ever hear about Veer Johns.
Yeah.
Opportunity Hour. That's where I first saw Bob Marley.
At Veer Johns.
At that time, there was the Wailing Wailers with about 6 of them.
Right.
Competing.
Wow.
He used to have this thing called the Opportunity Hour. You should be other places, but mainly at Palace Theatre.
Right.
Which is a South Camp Road. And that was also a big part of my growing up, seeing these. Because at that time, the Owen Grays and all that, they were blues busters. They were making music, still have that American rhythm and blues feeling.
Right.
And the scatting came out of that.
Right.
Whether I don't think it was by design, I think it was accidentally.
Wow.
That scatting came about. Other people might have their feelings, but
right. But
to
you
me,
stumbled up on that one.
Right. And so going to parties also was a big thing.
Sydney said Carlos Malcolm and the Afro Jamaicans.
Yeah, Carlos Malcolm and the Afro Jamaicans. How could I miss that one?
Wow.
Yeah, his group again was completely a different sound. It was, as people used to say back in them days, it was more Jamaican, because he used to do a lot of mental feeling music.
Right.
You know, Carlos Malcolm, I think, was born in Panama, I think he was. And so he had some Latin tinge thing.
Right.
Baron Lee did a lot of cha-cha-cha stuff. But big band was the thing to go to.
Right.
When you hear Baron Lee playing at Sombrero in Sunday evening, you see a lot of those videos with Baron Lee featuring the blues. Because he would have guests every week, guest singer. Right. I was there.
Wow.
I always wonder how come in about none of them videos.
Barry want to go on large up. I want to pick up everybody watching in from near and far. Again, it's a joy to sit down and chop it up with Sir Tony Carr. You know, we talk about the music and the reason why I go with music is because it's such a rich part of our heritage.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Post independence and stuff like that. I remember there are parts in my life that I can feel the difference from a particular year to another, right? In 1962, which year we get independence?
1962.
62, right? 62 when we got our independence. Aside from the political climate, right? Because we can't escape that. What was the feeling like for you in terms of personal life and just things going around, the atmosphere, how people got along, you know, the uncertainty versus the certainty of what's to come? What was that vibe and that essence like when we were transitioning in your opinion, from a time of not being independent into being an independent state?
Well, I was at the National Stadium when they pulled on the flag, the British flag.
Wow.
I was sick. And having lived in Vineyard Town, next door to Up Park Camp, okay? Neville Oxenden, who went to KC, we all grew up in the same area, and we had a team called the Grafton City. So we used to, our playing field was, we had to go through the double fence that run along the army base.
Adult Park?
Yeah. And to get to play football. And the Englishmen used to chase us.
Right.
And we were running all over the place, but we knew the holes where to go. Right. They didn't.
Right.
And so when we got independence, I was glad to see those Englishmen go.
Right.
As a matter of fact, when we got independence, they stopped chasing us.
So the first independence you experienced was the independence to go play football without being bothered?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because at that stage, the Jamaican Defense Force was formed. And the Englishmen most of them had left, and just a bunch of them was in the better part of Park Camp. And the Jamaica Defense Force was mostly down by South Camp Road.
Right.
If you drive, you'll see it. I think the mobile police and all that.
There now.
And then eventually they left. But they knew that to come and chase us. Because once we got independence, we stopped running.
Right.
And tell them it's time for you to go home.
So you, as a youngster at that time, felt the power and the pride of independence to where you can tell somebody, hey, listen,
yeah, man.
It's a my land now, it's not yours anymore.
Right.
No, we're talking about this from a football perspective, purely recreational.
Football and cricket. Because
cricket.
When cricket season, that's what we play.
And it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So if you felt that way regarding your recreation and your sports, right? Was that the energy from the general populace now, the regular, because we come from a background mentality there where we do have the oppressors, even though they're there and there's benefits to it, but we kind of feel the vibe of the oppression. Is it a situation where outside of the youth, were other people feeling the same way too? Like, okay, you know what?
I think so.
Yeah?
I think so. During that time, a lot of songs were created by the singers. The Lord Creator, Trinidadian guy who lived in Jamaica, he just died. Had a couple of Jamaican theme songs. Prince Buster was coming along. The ska was very, in my opinion, very strong at that time. And then Hopton Lewis did this song
Take It Easy
in September of 1966, and I know that because he and I was working together after the Commonwealth Games, which I took part in as a hurdler representing Jamaica. I got this job at this factory, and there he was. I didn't know he could sing. I went to school with him for a short period.
Really?
Yeah, and so he was showing me the ropes. And then one evening we heard on the radio Fusion, the big factory, and they said they have a surprise by one of our staff members here. And boom, Duke Reed, I think it was, had a 15 minutes thing on Radio Jamaica, one of those stations.
Right.
And that's where we heard Rocksteady for the first time.
Never knew that he was even involved in music.
No, I never. And I said, he and I standing up, and he just smiled. I said, you like it? He said, boy, this is different. This is nice.
Yeah.
I mean, hear them say, Hopeton Lewis. I me turn around and I said, which Hopeton am I talking about? And he bust out a laugh. Yeah.
Wow.
And they played both sides of the song.
Right.
Both sides were hits.
Right.
I think it was produced by Winston Blake. I think I'm not 100% sure right now. But that was when the Rocksteady thing started to come in. Duke Reed Tommy McCook. By this time, the skylights had broken up. Tommy McCook went to Duke Reed, and he had a group called the Supersonics. Different styles, smooth style.
Right.
And then Roland and Fanso and them, the rest were with Studio One. Studio One, of course, was putting out all these great ska music.
Right.
Then Prince Buster came along with a different style
Of ska.
of ska, but tremendous bass line and all that, which I loved to this day.
Yeah.
And there are a couple others, but those were the main people.
Wow.
And that's what the birth of Rocksteady in the 60s. I hear a lot of people talk about, there was, of course, the Federation thing that the English was pushing us to be in.
Right.
I don't think that, I'll be honest with you, at that time, I don't think that the islands, the rest of them wanted any federation. But because England was pushing them, we had the West Indies Federation for a number of years. Norman Manley, who was a prime minister at the time, because Bustamante, his cousin, who was the opposition
leader.
Yeah, he was pushing this communist thing, and Norman Manley was no communist. And they're cousins, remember that they're cousins.
Yeah.
And Norman Manley took a bust out of prison and all that stuff. A lot of people don't remember that.
Right.
In the 30s, and Norman, a decent man, said, "I let the people of Jamaica decide." I never forget that Bustamante had chains. A Cuban ship came to Jamaica, or a Russian ship, I don't remember which it was, came to Jamaica, down at the old Kingston Wharf there.
Right.
And Bustamante was there with chains. Them come for chain up Jamaica, turn Jamaica in a communist.
Wow.
And that swung the Federation.
Wow.
And the rest of the Caribbean, a lot of them hated us.
Because we never...
We opted out. And the unfortunate thing for me at that time was that the man who really took us to independence was Norman Manley. Not so much Buster, Norman Manley.
Right.
That is what I grew up knowing. And he never became the first prime minister.
Wow.
And he never became prime minister. His son did, but not him.
Right.
And that had always bothered me, that the man who actually, in my opinion, who led Jamaica up to that point, didn't get the chance to. But he was honest, and he said, "I let the people decide."
Right.
And Federation broke up.
It's amazing to, ladies and gentlemen, chopping up with Sir Tony Carr. We just got a little bit of time left, but thank you all so much for rocking out with us. I've often said, based on my observation, and my observation is rooted in research and my own experiences and stuff like that, but this conversation is what I've had before, is that when Jamaica gained its independence from Britain, it's really Britain that gained independence, and I deem it financial independence, a relinquished financial responsibility to Jamaica. So all the struggles and stuff that we had to come through was inevitable. But when we speak of the independence, is it more so Jamaica gained independence, or is it more so the UK gained independence because they were able to walk away after reaping however many years of money from Jamaica and walk away scotch-free, not having to have any financial responsibility?
I think it benefited England more. They reaped, they stole, and they stole, and they stole.
And they're still stealing.
And they're still stealing.
Right.
Now everybody is mad that China is doing all these things in
Jamaica.
In Jamaica, and I don't live in Jamaica, so I don't know everything that happens on a daily basis in Jamaica. But I always ask the question: what has Britain, Canada, and the U.S. done for Jamaica?
Right.
That you can say let them do something. But the Chinese come there. Okay, so them a build highway and the government now tax the people them out of
left, right, and center.
Left, right, and center. But the Chinese, in my opinion, has done more for Jamaica than the
visibly. You can see something that you can see and feel and touch, the infrastructural advantages that we have as a result of them.
Yep.
In adverse to England, the US,
who just stole
and continue to pillage.
And
yeah.
You know, America has not done anything for us.
It's funny you mentioned that in a certain, because that's again a conversation I have all the time in terms of we choose who and why we want to pour our vitriol on, right? So you have one person who's doing all kind of craziness, but we only pointed at one other person. In a case like this, I don't ever think they'll ever point it at Uncle Sam.
No.
For some, I heard him.
We can't do without America. Let's face it now.
No, it is reality. But we also, it almost seems like they're also, you don't want to verbalize certain things.
Yeah.
They don't want to verbalize certain things. No, and I'm cool with that. But then they'll choose who they want to verbalize it against, like you mentioned China. But you can see to some degree what China has done. But like you said, some people cannot see at all, if ever. And I'm talking about people from then until now, because the Chinese haven't been involved that intricately with Jamaica for so long.
Right.
But the US, Canada, and the UK have been forever.
Ever.
And you cannot see.
You can't see it. If you call Canadian farm workers program good for Jamaica, okay. Canada has done some good for us.
Right.
And America has, I don't know if you have any farm.
It's just jobs.
Yeah.
It's just they needed somebody to do the job.
Yeah.
So it's not like they stopped. They did us a favor because they don't want they're
dirty work, from what I heard.
Yeah.
And they treat them. They're still treating them bad.
Yeah.
You know, the sub housing thing in Canada, you see it all the while.
Right.
And
but there's still a reverence that we have for the UK, and I don't understand. I do realize that when we talk to especially elders, right, they hold some reverence.
Oh yeah.
I do feel like even when we get things from the US, even music, I mean from the UK, music, because I always take it back to music. Even the music that comes from the UK that's inferior.
Yeah.
They look at it with a certain reverence because it's coming from the UK.
I've heard people, especially people my age and older, who lived under the British, who feel that Jamaica would have been better off
remaining a colony.
A colony under the British. And sometimes I look upon them people and say, something wrong with it. Think again. Growing up under the British, they had a certain way of doing things. What the British did was to create division among light skin and dark skin.
So they were the ones that created that colorism thing.
To me. Because up to the mid-60s, you couldn't find a dark skinned Jamaican in a bank.
Yeah. I remember those days too.
Yeah, couldn't find one.
Yeah.
And it was news when a light skinned Jamaican got news as a teller.
At a bank. Banks, hotels.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the funny thing about it is not necessarily that them jobs even paid a lot of money either. It's just that
it's prestige.
It's just prestige.
Yeah.
You're getting paid in prestige.
Yeah.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tony Carr. It's funny you mention all of that, because that conversation comes up a lot too. Who the people who say, well, we should have remained a colony, right? To me, I treat it like almost religion or spirituality, where even if I think certain things, I can't verbalize it. You know what I mean? So that's my time off. I said we soon gotta go. But when I think about it, and I guess you can give me your opinion from then till now, right? The progress that you've seen up to a certain point became regression, right? There was progress. I remember I'm post-independent, but as I look at kid coming up, there's an aura, there's an energy. It was good. It felt nice. Yes, politics was all around. But then after a certain point, you almost felt regression. It's almost like the nation was on an uphill and then something happened. And we started back.
Well, before I say what I want to say here, Barry, he said they try a lot in 1962 when they left. I don't know what the hell he means.
Barry, what you talking about, Barry?
They try a lot in 1962. Yeah, they try a lot to get them soldiers out of our camp.
Oh my God!
Yeah, where were we now before I saw this comment?
No, big up myself. No, I was saying I could feel, even though my thing was way post independence, I can feel over the course of my life when we're making an uphill trajectory and then halt. Feels like regression. I always tie it back into the music. I say the one drop era and reggae music are positive times. Right?
Of course.
But when do you feel, and after that post-independent time, right? After riding the wave of confidence and pride, because there's a lot of pride. Oh, we're independent now. We're independent nation. After that time frame, did you ever feel a point like, oh man, damn, we're regressing at this point in time?
I think we started to, if you want to put it that way, regress. Mm-hmm. When, in my opinion, didn't agree with everything he did. But to me, the greatest prime minister we ever had was Michael Manley. Mm-hmm. And Michael Manley was doing a lot of things that no other prime minister thought of doing. Mm-hmm. But the U.S. didn't like it. Remember, he was close friends to Fidel Castro, got state visit to Castro and all that.
Labeled a socialist as a result.
And that Jamaica was going to turn communism. And then, of course, there's a lot of people living right here in South Florida who ran from Jamaica in the 70s. Remember that?
Yep.
When he said there's 6 Air Jamaica flights or something like that.
Yep.
You know, and they left.
Heard about it.
Yeah, they left. But, and of course, let's face it, U.S. wanted Eddie Seaga to be in power.
Right.
And you remember the election in 1980?
Bloody.
And they staged a lot of things. I remember at that time my sister and her husband lived in Jamaica, 1980, up in Havendale area. And there was a famous thing, I think if you go on YouTube, you'll see it, where Eddie Seaga was just walking down the street and his gunmen was just firing crazy.
Right.
So I called my brother. It was on CNN. I called my brother-in-law. Cecil, what the hell is happening in Jamaica? He said, what are you talking about, son? I said, I just saw on CNN where gunmen firing after Eddie Seaga. Mm-hmm. He said, no, nothing like that going on in Jamaica. It was staged.
Wow. And why would they stage that?
Because they wanted to show Jamaicans
abroad
that Jamaicans who are going to vote, this is not the right man for you, meaning Michael Manley, to vote in Eddie Seaga.
So the U.S. did all they could to influence
I mean, you'd have to be blind to realize that America wanted Eddie Seaga to be in power.
Right.
And got rid of Michael.
Sir T, listen, we have to go revisit this. And when you come back in the town, we have to go open up a 3 hour, 4 or 5 hour thing. I started from 10 in the morning. I want us to roll through till power cut.
You know something, man? I invited Sir Rockwell. Mm-hmm. I told him I'm hanging with you today. And Ed Robinson.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, you two gentlemen, can you imagine if all 3 of us were sitting in the studio with G. Cole together? Can you believe the show we would have?
Jano, bond them out. Call name again, sir. Who and who?
Ed Robinson.
Who else?
Sir Rockwell.
Cool, man. Anybody else?
No.
Are them that?
Are them two there? Because 3 of my favorite people in South Florida, 3 of my favorite people is Sir Rockwell, right?
Yeah.
Ed Robinson.
Yeah.
John Murray and Ed Robinson is like one.
Number 1. Them merge now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clinton Lindsay.
Burrell,
Marlon.
Yeah.
You.
Give thanks.
you see, why I hung out with you? I was supposed to go to another function today.
Right.
I told the lady I won't be there. I'm going to hang out with G. Cole today. And she said, who is G. Cole? I said, a friend. Because I wanted to hang out with G. Cole.
I give thanks, sir. I give thanks.
I'm in the famous studio. Ladies and gentlemen, I walk into the studio. This man was flicking light left, bright light blonde blindly. Just like a studio. But no, it was good to hang out with you, G. Cole. Your wife, by the way, Krista.
Yes.
She took care of me when you was not around. She came pick me up.
She's amazing.
Yes.
She's amazing. She's worth her weight in gold.
Oh, yeah.
She's amazing.
Treat that woman right. If not, you'll hear from me.
Oh, man. I do my thing. Listen, you see, it's funny thing I said on our bug of people. Nobody text me, please. Thank you very much. I appreciate y'all. Sir Tony Carr.
Yes.
Let the masses know because they need to dial in. And the good thing, this is why I must say I'm grateful for technology because it makes the world so much smaller, brings us so much closer, right?
Mm-hmm.
People who are not in the DC area, the DMV, can tune into you. Anyway, tell them when your show is on.
Well, I'm on Sunday nights, 10 p.m. to 12 midnight on WPFW 89.3 FM. Of course, when I'm not there, somebody else does the show.
Right.
But you can listen to me here in South Florida on reggaeglobalradio.com. You can also listen, I think, Sir Rockwell carries my show.
Rock the Box.
Rockthebox.net carries my show. And, of course, there are a couple other stations. One is in London.
One Harmony.
On Harmony. They carry it early morning, but they repeat it on Tuesday mornings, 9 o'clock.
Gotcha.
And one in New Jersey and two in Maryland and one in D.C. And, of course, the station carries live on our website, WPFWFM.org.
That's what I need to. One more time. The website.
WPFW.org. FM.org. If you type in WPFW.org, it's still gonna come up.
It'll come up.
Yeah, okay. But the correct thing is WPFW.FM. And before I go, I'm in South Florida. A lot of the music I play is from artists here in South Florida. Wow. I believe, in my humble opinion, South Florida is making some of the best reggae music.
Wow. Man, I forgot to sample the part. I'm going to cut that part out because a lot of people are going to appreciate hearing that.
Yeah.
Because I say to people all the time, the music is being made. We just need to do whatever else it takes to get it out there.
Have you heard Ed Robinson, Guiltiness? Yeah. Bob Marley's, he made that's a powerful song. It bud. When nobody was playing.
Oops.
When
Ladies
nobody was.
Hold on, this 13. I'll stay on radio, but if you let them go, so Jamaican.com can get. So.
Oh, okay.
Hold on there. Hold on there. We're record same way.
I see my good friend Sidney White. He and I started on radio. At WPFW. 1980. I started radio in 79.
Wow.
This mid-December coming up will make 44 years.
You're doing radio?
Yeah, but I had a plan to get on WPFW, and Sydney was part of it.
Wow.
And because he had back then you had to have a license. He had a license, I didn't.
You had to have a license to be on radio at that time?
To be on radio
broadcast
at that
license.
time. Yeah, broadcast license.
Wow.
They dropped it a couple years after.
So now anybody could be on.
Yeah. And he had it. And we started out as a jazz program. But my plan was to add little reggae into it.
Right.
Which I did. And when they found out that reggae can draw money, they moved me to a different time. Sydney continued. So at one stage, because of that one little 2.5 hours that we used to steal in the mornings, right, that I used to do from 5 to 7:30. And when they found out, it was when the management found out that I was doing reggae, it was during a fundraising time and how much hundreds of dollars I raised, which then before that they never raised $1 from midnight to 9 a.m. I raised like $600-700 that morning. They gave me a different time.
Right.
Sydney took over my old time, and as the years went by, we added people. But different when you have different program directors.
Right.
At one stage, we could be heard playing reggae and Caribbean music and African music 7 days a week.
What's the format like now?
Me, Sunday night.
That's it for reggae.
And the guy that comes on after me. And even that I had to fight for.
Wow.
And then you have a Caribbean program on Saturdays from 4 to 6, from 6 to 9. And before, from 4 to 6, they play a mixture. So I wouldn't even call them American Caribbean.
Let me ask you this though, because we know, as people in the industry and of the culture, the effect and the effect of reggae music, but I still do see that many of these radio stations and institutions are cutting the reggae stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Is it
ignorance?
Do they not know, or do they just not appreciate?
Ignorance.
Straight ignorance.
Yeah, to me. I've always felt that.
Is it lucrative? Because again, I'm sure radio is a business too, and
it is a business.
Is it lucrative for them to be carrying reggae programs?
I'll be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say no.
No.
Because advertisement in commercial radio, advertisement is that's it. I did a commercial stint on WOL for almost 3 years, and the reason why I was that closed that program was because, well, it was a small station in terms of wattage, right? But because of lack of commercials,
right?
And most of the Caribbean businesses anywhere is restaurants. And because they do get good, they get clientele.
Right.
People want them food, so them don't want to cook, but them can't get good Jamaican food, so they go to these restaurants.
Right.
And they just wouldn't advertise.
They don't advertise, they just roll.
Yeah.
And expect the business to come in. And it does come in.
Yeah, it does come in. But they didn't look at the big picture.
Right.
And they wonder. Over the years, people discuss it with me, and I stopped talking about it. I said, lack of support. The dance hall people, them who come in and they spend ridiculous money, get them to actually support the Caribbean programs. Not doing it.
So, but here's the other thing, though. They don't support the Caribbean programs, but they do expect the support of the Caribbean programs.
Yeah. They come in, they would call me up. Mr. Carr, may have Joe Blow come in, and I don't know if you can do an interview. Me just tell them straight up, boy, I'm going to play them the brother music, No. Because my program right now is to introduce new reggae and new artists, reggae artists,
right?
Which I have done for the last 8 years. A lot of South Florida artists, for the first time that they are heard in my area, it's from
it's through your show.
You show my show.
Right.
And I'm proud of that, because I came to a wedding last year. And I was shocked at how many people, how many artists was there who was glad to meet me for the first time.
And you didn't know that they were...
I didn't know that they even know about me.
Right.
Hopton Linda knew about me. Twiggy know about me. Jonah Murray know about me. But I was surprised.
The other folks that knew.
How many people
came
over thanking me for playing their music.
They pay attention.
Yeah,
they pay attention. A lot of times they act like they don't, but they do pay attention.
Well, you know, I know that.
You know, they do pay attention.
When I get a song from a local artist in the DMV, it's like a long time in a year you play my tune, you know. I played tune last week, you know. We played the tune last, but somebody say, you never listened last week. Oh, no. I said, well, I played it last week, you know. What you talk about?
You know, that it's funny you said that. Now, a lot of times people say to you pretty much what you do and what you don't do.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not saying now, play this. But the reality of it is this. Oh, you know it, but you're not supporting.
Yeah, you're not support.
So
right now our station is going through fundraising, and Carl Malcolm, the veteran, is one of the few people who calls in and support as a reggae artist. Yeah, as an artist.
Does the community at large, outside of the musicians and the artists, does the community at large support? And when I say community, I mean just the listeners that of Caribbean heritage, as well as like patron.
I think
businesses.
I hope they're not listening, but this is the truth. I think most of the people who pledge on my show money are Americans.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it right here. Listen, I don't want to vex you. So I'm gonna stop you right.
But
there.
I'm being honest.
But it is, but you know the truth don't.
Yeah.
People like the truth, Tony Carr. You know that.
Yeah.
People, we don't like the truth.
Yeah.
People don't like it, but we particularly don't like the truth.
Yep.
We tell what sounds good.
Yep. Well, as the years go by,
the filter goes. So as the years go by, the fence filter go down low and low.
The Americans will pledge $100, $200, $400. I've gotten up to $600 on credit card.
In one pledge.
Jamaicans, 25, 30.
And that's
$10.
if you get it.
Yeah. So, but what I've tried to do over the years, every now and then I'll step back in some of the old music. For example, I told you what happened, that I left my 2 computers in Canada, that I have to drive back to Canada.
Forget it now.
On the 26th. Next week, when I go back, I'll be playing some CDs. I don't know what the heck I'm playing.
Right.
But probably older music that I haven't been playing for some time. So, you know, I do that. But basically, I love to introduce new music.
Right.
The last new song that I introduced was from this era that tickled me. Is Hopeton Linden Novelty.
They did a good job with that song. Boy.
That song was perfect.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
They did a great job.
And Ed Robinson, Guiltiness.
Bad.
You know, for months I think I was the only one playing I'm Not That Guy. And
I'm not that guy.
He added to the EP. But for a long time I think I was the only one playing it. Right. I didn't hear anybody in South Florida playing it for a long time.
And that
powerful song.
That's the funny thing about it too, is that we all have that same outlook where sometimes, you know, we wish to hear our stuff more at home, or we don't. But people like yourself keep it alive wherever you are, and good thing that people can listen everywhere.
I play a song.
Oh, give thanks. Yes, a lot of people always hit me up and say, yeah, man, I hear Sir T, I blast out the thing.
Yeah, man, I play.
So, yeah. I got you. I appreciate it. And I'm going to send you, like I said, as soon as this one is, you know, we just had a new release today, so I'll send that one to you too. You know what I mean? And it's a re-release, but it's a new release.
play good reggae music.
Yeah.
That's what people always ask me, what kind of music? I say I play good reggae music. I don't care where it's from.
Right.
You know, there's this girl named Alicia something.
Christine Alicia?
No. I've been playing her
Alicia
music.
Marie?
Alicia something. She's Welsh.
Oh, Alicia Scott.
Yeah.
Alicia Scott, yeah. She bad.
Nobody ever heard her in Washington until I started playing her music.
And you know what?
Kalia, there's another young lady, Kalia.
Tony Kelly artist.
Yeah.
Bad. I tell people right now, the ladies, you know, we have a set of female artists that's just killing it right. You mentioned even Alicia Scott. if you dive into some of her earlier stuff, because the good thing is she's on radio now too, right?
Yes, she is.
She's on BBC. But with the new stuff she just dropped with Rory Stone Love. Prior to that, she have a song on the love portion, I remember rhythm. And then she have another song, her version of the Bitty McLean tune, which again is not an original anyway. But she did a version of that too.
Yes.
Which is just
fantastic. Yeah.
She bad.
Yeah.
So you definitely, if you connect with people like those and have convo with them. I was supposed to have an interview with her. It was my fault. I got busy. I'm gonna connect back with her still and have a convo. But I love her stuff.
I don't know. Rory is a hard man to get an album from.
Right.
Good thing I know Christine Alicia, so I was able to get her album from. Right. But he has done some good work.
He has with Black Dove Music recently too.
He has done some great work. He looked like a producer who takes his time.
Yeah, it takes Janine. He did it with Janine. Yeah. This is other artist Yeza. I don't know if you ever heard of Yeza. Female artist in Japan. Well, Miss she bad too. She's done some work with him. Zia Benjamin.
Yep.
He's done
I think I know the name.
Yeah.
I might even have her music.
Yeah, bad.
Yeah.
She bad.
But he lives here.
And I think he still lives in Jamaica. He's here a lot, but I think he's don't quote me, but I think he still lives in Jamaica. But you always listen, Rory's he's always had his finger on the pulse of the music.
Yep.
And what I have to give Rory credit for is a lot of people who come from a sound system era, they are a lot of times still caught in the digital part of it. There's a lot of synthesized stuff. The music that Rory's putting out is straight live.
Oh yeah.
Straight live stuff. So
you listen to Christina Alicia album.
Bad.
He did tremendous work with that album.
Everything that he has it Samurai.
Oh yeah.
So all of the stuff that he's attached to that he, you're getting quality.
Yeah.
The brand Rory, him not jeopardize the brand.
But it's hard to get an album from him.
John or Rory, you hear that? You hear that, Rory? You want to say, you're not getting an album from him.
But I have my ways of getting music.
Yeah?
I make calls.
I kidnap him, man.
Yeah, I make calls to certain people. And they, Clinton Lindsay is one guy, whenever I call, I say, Clinton, I need so-and-so. Sooner or later,
you get it.
It drop in my box. Yeah. So I respect him for that, Clinton Lindsay.
Clinton's a man.
Yeah.
Clinton's a man.
Because I know everybody send their music to Clinton.
Yeah.
So
and he'll share it.
Oh yeah. That's what I share my music that I get with my fellow broadcasters. My brother up in Montreal, Canada. I send it to music to his DJ. It's up to them to play it. I send it to a couple other DJs in the area, Baltimore. And it's up to them to play it,
But you share it.
I share it.
And that's the thing. For me, I once I get the music and I'll say to the artist, I'm going
to share it. I won't sell it.
Yeah, but you share it with
I share it with fellow DJs.
I share it with DJs. I hate when John Public call me if I ask me for it. And because I got to tell him no. I'm like, yo, why are you calling me asking me for music? Go buy it. It's 99 cents.
I do that too.
Now, I got to big up some people though. I have there's a DJ Lance over there in UK. Every time he listens to my show a lot, and every time he listens and he hears something that he hasn't heard before, he asks me, "What's the name of that artist?" Whatever the case may be, and 2 seconds, and I say, "I got it." Right. So I love it when everybody who listens in, whether it be people in the
I do that with you.
The music. Like I'm look for it. I got it, and that's the same thing with me. I play from what I play from because that allows me to stream. Right. So if I am getting music from an artist, I play the artist music. When I'm at home, I'm listening to the MP3 or whatever, but I stream it. I'm in the studio right now. I'm streaming because I want the artist and forget them streams. You know what I mean? But if I'm outside and I don't have the Wi-Fi, then it's a different thing.
Well, at my station, we have to put in the songs.
Right.
So they get paid.
Because that's commercial radio.
Yeah. But we're non-commercial.
You know?
But we're non-commercial, but we have to do that.
You got to do the playlist the right way.
You got to do the playlist.
Right.
So you can even go
for royalty's sake.
For royalty's sake.
Yeah.
That was explained to me a couple years ago.
Right.
Because I never used to do it. And then I asked one of in the station management, why I have to do that? And they explained to me. I said, oh, okay. So I started to do it.
But even the venues are supposed to do it. The venues, when an artist go play,
Yeah.
Them supposed to do it. If like the sports bars or whatever the case may be, they're supposed to.
I know a couple places that got into problems in the DC area because they didn't want to pay.
Yeah.
And they had to eventually pay.
That's what the artists I'm getting them to.
Yeah.
Trust me.
So I'm all for them supporting the artists. Don't have as much clubs per se that plays straight reggae anymore in DC.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Well, where I get it there, man. Where I get it there. Ladies and gentlemen, Sir Tony Carr in the building with us now. Make sure somebody hit him up.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Tune in Sunday nights from 10 p.m. to 12 midnight. If you're in Florida, tune into Reggae Global Radio.
And they'll hear you.
And they'll hear me from 10 to 12.
Make sure say on
rockthebox.net too.
What time is it on Rock the Box?
Same time.
Same time.
My show is live.
Simultaneous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everything live.
Yeah.
Jano.
But me know for sure Reggae Global camera show
is live.
Yeah.
Large up Ed Robinson, Joanna Marie. Sir Tony, let me first of all say thank you so much for stopping to have a good time with us and enlightening people, because I heard one post I saw here and you see me looking at this thing here is because people are commenting. One person said they learned so much today. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Again, I wish we
I would just a chat.
I would just a reason.
Yeah.
So I gotta schedule something with
this wasn't planned.
No. We'll just say, yo, I'm gonna hit it up before we head to the airport or whatever, you know?
Yep.
So I gotta schedule something.
Oh, time for me to head to the airport.
Sir Tony.
Yeah.
Give tags, I get it up.
Yeah.
Give tags. And the people them can follow you on social media.
Well, you know, I am on Facebook. Mm-hmm. What's the other one name?
Instagram?
I'm not on that.
No.
I don't understand what Instagram is all about. A bunch of pictures. So I'm not on that. But Facebook, I'm on Facebook. I comment on Facebook a lot. Right. You might agree or you might not agree with what I write.
But your opinion is there.
You know, I try to be honest with anything. When I see nonsense,
which pops up a lot,
which we saw a lot of during Reggae Girls.
Yeah, and even the independence reason.
Ladies and gentlemen, No Go Fund sent the Reggae Girls to the World Cup. None. Get that in our head. Okay.
That's all we got to say about that.
Yeah, man. Well, good, everybody.
Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Big time. Turn it right across.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No matter where I am or what I do, you're always in the back.
And there you have it. Thank you so much for tuning in. It has indeed been a pleasure. Remember, the podcast Homegrown G Cole is available on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Radio.com, YouTube, wherever you listen to a podcast. We're there. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out homegrownwithgcole.com to see all things homegrown. And remember, this interview is available on YouTube so you can watch live. Be safe, be kind, be good to each other. My name is G Cole, and this is Homegrown.
Nakikinika sa música, Homegrown with G Cole.
Estás escuchando Homegrown con G Cole.
您现在正在收听的是 Homegrown with G Cole.
You're listening to Homegrown with G Cole.
Remember, all the music played here on the podcast Homegrown with G Cole is available on iTunes, Spotify, and all your digital retailers. Please support the artist.